Most Americans have no money saved for retirement, and this is a big, big problem. And by most, I mean 28% of Americans working age currently have $0 saved. If you're one of these, please watch this video to the end. And if you do have some money saved up, please watch this video to the end so you can learn some additional things that can propel you to having as much as a couple extra $100,000 at retirement age. But unfortunately, a lot of Americans will never be able to retire. They are going to die before they can retire. That's a sad state, and I don't want that to happen to you. So let's jump right into it. What's going on in America to cause this issue? Have we gotten lackadaisical? Have we gotten lazy? Have we lost sight of retirement? Maybe, but the main thing that's going on is the savings account rate is getting lower and lower. So mathematically, there's just not enough money in people's accounts to retire. In fact, in January of 2024, this year, the personal savings rate in America was 4.1%. As of February, just 30 days later, that had dropped to 3.6%. This is a good time for you to leave in the comments why you think from January to February, the rate dropped almost an entire basis point or 1%. I have some ideas I'll talk about later in the video, but this is a bad, bad sign. If you're looking to retire, financial advisors say you need an average savings rate of 12 to 15%. We're a long way from that, with the national average being 3.6. The driver of this is high living cost. The cost of living right now is probably as high as it's ever been in most living Americans' lives. Rent, mortgages, gas, insurance, childcare, food, utilities, clothing, and then all the extra stuff like vacations and consumer goods. They are very expensive as well. This is leading to the dollar not going nearly as far for the working man or woman. Also, you used to be able to survive on one income source, and now you almost need two. If you're one person trying to survive in the world, you have to be extremely frugal or be a very high earner. But even high earners are not saving that much. Some are, but on an average, they are not. If we take a look at the actual median savings account balance, take a guess. What do you think it is? Real quick, guess in your head. The average median account balance would be what? $87,000 for people 65 and older. So folks that are getting close to retirement age, that is actually only $87,000. Now the average is higher. It's around 100 and I believe the number is 174,000 for average. But if you look at statistics, median is more accurate. So a majority of Americans will never retire. Inflation is currently eating up people's savings, and even if they're making money, it's eating up their savings. So why do I say people will not be able to retire? Well, mathematically, it should be obvious to all of us, but statistically, the numbers are just not there. So people are going to work until they die. Real life example, go into Home Depot or go into a grocery store, and you will see people that can barely move in some cases, trying to bag groceries, trying to ring you up, trying to figure out how to use a computer or one of these new checkout devices. Now, granted, the job's pretty easy. I think for their age, I'm surprised they're not at home, kicked back, gardening or doing whatever retired people want to do or do. Now, some of these folks do keep a job to stay active in the workplace, but a big majority of them are being forced to. Case in point, I met somebody that lives close to me the other day, and he said he was working on some stuff, and he didn't have quite the money to do what he wanted to do. And I said, that's fine. He said, well, I spent too much money when I was young. I didn't save. He basically said, I lived a YOLO lifestyle, and now I'm having to live in a cheaper rental house, and I don't have as much money as I want. But he was happy. But the point was he did not save enough money. That's a first-hand experience of a story I recently heard. On top of these scary stats that are accurate about Americans, also there's the psychological component. A huge majority of Americans don't even think they'll be able to retire. And they're right. Younger Americans do not believe they're going to be able to retire. The cost of living, healthcare, and inflation is just going to continue to run rampant and eat up their savings income. So what are we going to do as Americans? Well, the first thing is you're up against a big opponent. The U.S. government wants you to continue to work so that they do not have to pay you Social Security, and they can delay paying it and hope that you die. That's the first thing. Second of all, they're not going to be able to fund Social Security in the future. It will run out of money unless they print more money. And the debt currently is over $33 trillion. That's the equivalent of you as an individual having $100 million of credit card debt. Do you think you or I could get out of that? You and I could not get out of that. We know that. We would have to do what? File bankruptcy. Well, the U.S. government is in that exact spot. And they keep adding and adding and adding and adding, which is also leading to part of the problem. Americans are spending more than ever on credit cards. Now, it's easy to say people are out there just having a good time, and that could be true. But I personally believe if you look at the numbers, a big portion of the credit card spending currently is for necessities. It's for fixing the car. It's for groceries. It's for clothes. A gentleman in my gym yesterday, a military guy, 23 years, has 2 daughters. He told me, he said, David, guess how much it is for one girl in public school to play volleyball? I said, I have no clue. He said, $900. I said, wow. I said, that's pretty high to play volleyball in public school. He said, last year it was $600. And when I asked about it, the coach and the people basically told me it's because of inflation. So a 33% jump in the cost to have your child play volleyball, Americans are not going to be able to retire. They're going to be in an absolute mess. But you and I, we are going to find a way. So how are we going to get out of this mess? As a country, we probably will not get out of this mess. As individuals, it's time to pivot. It's time for you to make a line in the sand and pivot your life and draw the line and say, this is where I change my life for my family. This is where I change my operating system, which is your thoughts, and I break out of this entrapment system that's going to prevent me from retiring. If you ever want to retire, you're going to have to start doing things different. Now, what things have helped me and what things can help us together? Number one, you got to get that savings rate up. And the best way to get the savings rate up, well, the best way is to increase income. But if you increase your income and keep spending, you just keep moving up equally, you're never going to get that savings rate. So if you're making 40 grand a year now, you wouldn't be any better off at $100,000 a year instead of 40,000 because you're just going to increase the luxury of your life. You're going to get a better car. You're going to wear better clothes. You are going to eat better food and go on better vacations. Therefore, your margin between 40,000 and 100,000, while that sounds big, when you consider the cost of increased living, you're not going to have any more room for savings. So the discipline comes right where you are. This is the most valuable point of this video. The discipline is not when you have 100 grand. It is when you are making 18,000, 34,000, 42,000, or 64,000, and you say, now I start saving. So as you increase your income, you get more and more room for saving. My savings rate is not super high right now. It's been higher in the past. It's fairly high, but not nearly where it needs to be. A good friend of mine said he hasn't ever saved in his life. He always knew he could make more money. I said, how much are you saving now? He said $7,000 a month. Well, when you're saving $7,000 per month, you can really get ahead. But we're not all in that boat. I'm not in that boat. You may not be in that boat. Number one, increase income. How do you do that? Finding a side hustle, working hard at your job. All these videos about don't work hard at your company, that's BS. Work as hard as you can. How you do anything is how you do everything. Either the boss will notice and you will eventually make more money or get some kind of stake in said company, get a higher pay in said company or become a partner, for example, or the skills and the discipline you build will pay themselves forward at another company or when you start your business. Second thing is to save money. Find ways to save. Start a garden, clip coupons, stop eating out as much. I've had multiple people tell me that going out to eat used to be a luxury, and now everybody does it almost every single day or multiple times per week. That is expensive. So cut back on expenditures that you don't have to have. The third thing is stop buying stuff you don't need. We're a consumer-based country, but you as an individual or a family, cut back for 6 months or a year. See what you can do. Next thing, buy subpar brands. If you're out there and you're buying laundry detergent, maybe you don't need Tide. Maybe you don't need Crest toothpaste or Colgate. Maybe you can get by with the store brand. I'm perfectly happy with store brand in many, many, many items. When it comes to medicines, obviously the name brand medicine extremely expensive and the off-label brand is more affordable. So find ways to save money to get yourself ahead. And remember that this is a long game. You're going to live a long time. So saving a little bit each year and cutting back on your expenses gets more dramatic and pronounced over time. You just have to start. So whether you're 18, 16, 64, 42, or 70, start saving more money. And then the next thing, we need to put that money into some kind of investment vehicle that will generate income. Unfortunately, saving is not good enough anymore because inflation is eating up your income. And let me tell you, inflation's most likely here to stay. So if you're going to retire in America in the future, you're going to have to change your entire framework. You're going to have to make more money, and you're going to have to live a different lifestyle and save more money. That's really all there is that we can do. But there is one more thing that I advise. If you can shift your mindset to needing less and providing more, right? Like, I need less stuff. I wear the same t-shirts. I don't go shopping on a lot of stuff. I don't need to upgrade my car. But now I'm growing honeybees and I'm selling honey and I'm producing ebooks on how to sell real estate, or I am cutting grass for people as a teenager or a young man. Whatever value you can give, create more, give more, but consume less. Consume what you need, live a good life, but create and put more products, more lines out in the water. The fisherman with 15 lines in the water will catch more than the man that just has one line. So get more lines out in the water, create more value, give more, be consistent. And you will find that if you do that over a period of 15, 20, 35 years, you will end up in a place where you can retire. But it's important to have the mindset of where you want to end up. Sean Covey wrote the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The first habit is begin with the end in mind. You have to know where you're going. And if you really want to retire at a certain age and don't want to have to work forever, which is what the government wants. They're not there to help you. They don't hope you retire. They want you to keep working and then die so you can pay taxes every year. But if you want to beat that system, you have to change your mindset, change your family, change your community. All the change starts with you. It begins and ends with you. Men, women, teenagers, whoever's watching this, it begins and ends with you. Set an example. Get up early. Do what you need to do. Do not lose heart. Do not lose faith. You are going to make it. We are in this together. And if you're watching this, the most important thing in today's world is that you are the resistance. Thank you for watching this video. I hope wealth finds you. I hope happiness finds you. Remember to do work. We got this. I'll see you in the next video.